Good day, guys. How's it going? Today's topic I would like to cover why is it important to be bilingual in today's world. Um, First, I want to bring out, my personal background. I grew up in China. When I was 25, I moved to New Zealand, and I started, using English to communicate and find a job, and doing all sorts of things. You make friends. And just survive in a new environment. So I started picking up English pretty much like from 25. Before I learned English and I didn't actually use it in the school. So at school it's kind of a subject and you learn it only for the class, only for the subject, only for exams, right? And after exams, you don't really use the language. So when I went to New Zealand, things become different. The English, you actually use it to communicate, to express yourself, and in a way make other people to understand you, and you need to understand others. So for me, that was a big change. And then the very important and hard part for me is to understand others. New Zealand people, they talk very fast. They use a lot of slang, and I found very difficult in the beginning. Now, after 10 years, I stay in New Zealand, and I found my English become better. That's simply because I completely put myself in an environment that's speaking English, and I tend to be comfortable in that kind of environment, and I pick up as much as I could so I can enjoy the conversation better. Now, this make a huge difference to me later on, and I started my own business. That was in 2019, 2018. I started my own business, right? And you have to deal with people from different background. People are from China, India. Yeah, of course, we have Kiwis, and engineers, council officers. I was a building designer, so I have to deal with a lot of consultants. Yeah, so all in the English environment, and I found English is very important to me for me to develop my professional skills and just in general professional development. So I found a great enjoyment in this kind of self improvement. When I talk better in English and express myself better, people can understand me better. So I thoroughly enjoy the every moment of learning. I have a dictionary on my phone, so any word that I don't quite understand, I will put it on my dictionary and I go check it. I have accumulated like thousands of vocabulary in my dictionary, and I found great enjoyment to learn it and to memorize it, and later on you actually use it in your daily conversation. And the other thing is I would like to use this language to help me to get more clients. In a company, we have to constantly get more clients for the new leads, and get them on the job book. So I have to involve talking to people from different backgrounds that could potentially later on become my actual clients. My profession determines that I have to find people that have great trust in myself. So I have to at least express myself in a sincere and a way that people can at least understand me. So I have to work very hard on my oral English, written English, in any ways, so that means people can understand my proposal and how I deliver my promise, and what's it going to be like after sales service. So after all of these, they might be able to consider and eventually take me as their service provider. So yeah, I had to deal with, like, as I said before, Chinese Indians, and they are, you know, the most of immigrants consist of those ethnic group, simply because in the last decades, many Chinese and Indian immigrants come to New Zealand and Australia, and of course go to Europe and US as well. So that's very interesting. As a little bit of background difference to you would typically think, as in New Zealand, you may think that most people they are European European people, but as a matter of fact, we have a lot of immigrants in our country. But that's fine. I am an immigrant myself. I went to New Zealand when I was 25, so I am certainly a migrant myself, and I accept the fact we are living in a country that full of migrants these days. Even European people, they either come here themselves, or in the last few generations, their parents come from Europe. So after all, we are all migrants. A lot of, at least most of us, for people in New Zealand and Australia, and probably US too. We all migrated from some places in the world. And then going back to the clients we talked about, we have people from different backgrounds, Chinese, Indian, and then we have local Kiwis. And here in Australia, we have Aussies, and people from all sorts of places. We had clients from Bangladesh, we had clients from South America, even the US, North America, Europe, of course. Yeah, we have people from all sorts of background, and then they trust me as their building designer. And then over the last years, I've had a lot of relationship with clients from different ethnic background. So I understand, the oral English and your written English, how important they are, and in your daily life. So that help you to succeed in your profession. On the other hand, English is so important, but I do want to emphasize, being a second language, how important it is. Especially is your mother tongue. If you from certain places of the world, it would be great to speak your mother tongue. So I have two children now, and we are actively encouraging and helping them to learn Chinese. And I hope in the future the language will give them strength for them to develop in their profession, their business growth, and their potential, job opportunities. So there are a lot of Chinese companies, running all over the world. They have in WA we have like big mining companies background in Chinese, and also the technology companies in the US. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on in the world, and the world economy is not only in the West anymore. We all know, Indian, China, South Africa, Brazil, and Russia. The BRICS countries, they are developing very fast. Particularly in China. So things are moving very quickly. I've noticed quite a few of the people we know when we were in New Zealand, and even people here in Australia, Canada, and they might originate from China, and then they are moving back. So that might be a trend going on, simply because in Western society we have limited opportunities, limited pay cap, and then the property price, the living cost, so it's so expensive that drives people that have no savings at all. If you work on a mediocre job and then you pay the rent and groceries, at the end of the financial year, you probably not got not much left. And some other people spend a bit more, they may end up with credit card debt. So it's not uncommon for people to have a lot of credit card debt, personal debt or car loans, home loan. Of course, a lot of people have home loans. So yeah, in the Western world, we do feel the pressure of the living cost. So I noticed some people, they are moving back to where they came from. The Chinese, some of them, they're moving to China. Indians, some of them, they move to their hometown. And even some of European, they are moving back to where they come from. They told me, it's just simply much, much cheaper to live in Europe and compared to, here in Australia, New Zealand, we rent. Today I saw the news, the average rent in Australia is, in Perth, I think is $760 per week. So that's quite a lot of money for just rent a place to live. Yeah. So this contributes to a great deal of your disposable income, and your actual disposable income will be much, much less, especially you have huge tax to deal with at the first place. So yeah, we have a lot of challenges in the Western world, and I don't think we will have a great outlook for the next 10 to 20 years. We have so much burden, in terms of tax, defense, Medicare, and so many other things. We have, huge burdens, but the productivity here in Western society is just not that quite strong enough, that so the employment is not that great anymore. Before, like decades ago, if you have a job in Australia or New Zealand, you can easily afford a house, a car, and maybe a few cars, and easily afford a family of four. Right now, for one person's income, it's really, really hard to afford a family of four. So yeah, definitely we can see the living cost has gone up, and in the next 10 to 20 years, I don't personally think the situation will gonna improve any better. I personally think the things will get worse, simply because the government will demand higher tax, right? Either through direct tax reform or through inflation. And more than likely, they're gonna choose the latter one. So the inflation will keep going on. I don't think it's gonna ease, in the long term. We can see the 10-year bond yield is so high. I think Australia somewhere around 4.8% as we speak. That's July 2026. And looking at Britain, looking at 10-year bond yield is also 4.8%. So they are very, very expensive, the cost of borrowing money. People don't want to invest in the bond in a high inflationary environment. Therefore, they demand higher bond yield to compensate the higher inflation. So with that being said, we can forecast, the economy in the future is not very optimistic. So I think, for people who have bilingual skills, they will have better chance of survival, and also, have a higher chance of being successful in many many ways. At first, if you own a business, you have the opportunities to have more clients from different ethnic background. Like people will tend to talk to you if you speak the same language. It's really hard for people, can't find a common language to communicate, especially in the modern world. If I speak Chinese and you speak German, and we don't speak any common language, right? And then that will be very, very hard for the two people to actually communicate. And if you don't communicate well, it will become very hard to do the business, build the rapport, and to create that kind of long-term client relationship. So it's good we have English, as our bridge language, in modern world. But it would certainly be better if you talk to the client's mother tongue language, right? If they speak Indian and then you can speak Hindi, sorry, that would be great if I could. But apparently, I don't speak that many language, so. But I'm keen to learn more languages if I have more time and energy. Early this year, I started learning Vietnamese. I feel very good about learning a new language. It rewires my brain and gives me more opportunities. And when I traveled to Vietnam, I found people show more respect to me simply because I can say some simple language such as Xin Chào, Xin Lỗi, these kind of things that make people feel like this guy is kind of more. It's like willing to learn their language. So yeah, that definitely give me more credibility for that. And the other thing is, if you speak another language, you could potentially move there for job or live. For example, if you move to a place, if you don't speak the language, it's really hard for you to actually get around, not even to mention, find a permanent base there. So if in the future Western world becomes very, very expensive and completely unaffordable, many people actually choose to move overseas. Popular destinations are Southeast Asia, a lot of people move there for cheaper services and products. Yeah, we've seen not only now, in the last few decades, we've seen people retire, go to Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea. People move to all over the place. I even know some people move to Panama, Dubai. So all those things, people 20 years, 30 years ago never heard of, right? 20, 30 years ago, we always dream about to move to Western world. I used to have like neighbors move to Australia, and neighbors, they are top of the top, in our hometown. And yeah, we were very, very admire them to move overseas to Western world. But now, the trend is changing. The Western world is having a lot of issues that people simply cannot deal with, and they kind of force people to move to some cheaper places. And if we speak their language, that really give us the possibilities, to move to a place, either to learn, either to study, or a business adventure, or permanently relocation. Yeah, popular destinations such as Vietnam or Indonesia, Bali, people moving there in droves. So a lot of people, some of our friends went holiday to Bali, and they say, oh, how can I move to Bali? How can we permanently move there, not only for a month or two? So yeah, definitely overseas they are very attractive simply because they have cheaper living, cheaper pretty much everything. You go. And yeah, the affordability has become a huge issue here in Australia. So yeah, having the language give a second language open up the door of a new world, and you could explore. You could just pack up the bag and go to explore. So for me, if the things getting too much bad, and I completely couldn't afford of living in Australia, and I can pack my bag and I can go to Singapore, Hong Kong, China, and go back to where I came from. So yeah, it's a possibility, at least for a plan for the worst, plan for survival. That's all. And yeah, I think yeah, the business opportunity is definitely great. I can say that from my personal experience. And I found, having the language definitely have a great rapport. And I had a lot of Chinese clients in the past. They trust me, and find me to being able easy to communicate. So I had a lot of Chinese clients. So I yeah, definitely benefit from being able to speak the language. Yeah, I wish I could speak more language, and I could be very, very successful. Yeah, I kind of regret when I was younger, I didn't spend that much of time in language, being, yeah, doing a lot of, yeah, wasted a lot of time when I was younger. So yeah, now I'm 37 years old, learning a language for me is very hard, kind of like hard to memorize because you have a lot of family things to deal with, kids school arrangement, and you have work, so a lot of things to worry about, and then it kind of puts the learning a new language onto a back burner. Yeah, so in the professional life, it's really hard, I know, to actually pick up a new language. But when we have time, we should always, being curious and spend a bit of time on learning a new language. You could potentially not changing our life, but definitely make a huge difference. And I hope, this kind of ideology will give you some, bring some new knowledge to you. And I think, and I encourage everybody, including myself, to being open-minded, to actually learn a second language or third language or fourth language, and try to overcome the obstacles in our life. And then through this way, we could potentially rewire our brain. And as a person, we could actually get even smarter. So that's one of the reasons that I do this kind of podcast. I try to use this opportunity to express myself in an organized way. I don't really prepare before my speech, but I try to go as I go. I try to organize as I go, and I found it's a huge challenge for my brain, and I found it's very satisfactory. So yeah, that's my personal take, and yeah, I hope I could catch up with you all next time. And yeah, click the like and subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.